Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. Don't say I don't do anything hard grafty in this channel. It's absolutely pouring down. Bugsy and I are getting soaking wet. We're having to dance in and out of tractors, pulling out stones and big giant concrete blocks to keep out the travellers. It's all go here this morning. A couple of sausage dogs almost got squished by a giant tractor. I don't know if you can see it in there, just parking up. But anyway, a lot of trouble here. Hope you're keeping out of yours. What is going on with you people? Are you happy and healthy doing the things you love? I hope so. Please do me a favour, guys. As always, hit the like button for me on the video if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And even if you have, can you double check that you still are? Just like the weather is unpredictable, as too is YouTube's propensity to keep you subscribed. Shenanigans are afoot. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Oh no. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics. This is going to be a quick one, I feel. Some transfer news, views and clues for you. Let's start with late summer transfer target Conor Gallagher. News out of Chelsea is that they're not going to give him a new contract. He's got 18 months left and that they haven't offered him one. He's very interested in signing one, but they haven't offered him one because of their massive overspend. They're right up against FFP and they need to get some money on the books that gets immediately placed against FFP to allow them to kick the can down the road for future making of ends meet, but and allowing Pochettino to do what he wants to do in January with regards to striker. And Conor Gallagher, of course, is a homegrown, one of their own, come through the academy. If they were to sell him now for 50-60 million, then that money would get straight against their FFP and would be immediately accessible. So it's quite a lucrative, logical bit of business for Chelsea, even though he's been their best player this season. And you may remember, guys, that back in the summer, oh no, the Thunder's here as well. Back in the summer, I was very much on board us signing him. I think he's a brilliant player. He's been Chelsea's best player this season for me by far. I think he's a versatile utility player. He's a terrier. He works hard. He plays hard. Pops up with goals. Can play in the 6, the 8, the second 8, the 10. He can play anywhere. So if there was a desire for it to get done, then I'm all on board it. However, I don't think it is going to happen for the following reasons. One is he's Chelsea through and through, and I don't think he'd want to come to Tottenham. Two is, will Chelsea deal with Tottenham? We don't really do business together. Three is, that's basically our entire budget, and we've got far more pressing areas of the pitch to figure out. And four is, as I was saying, I think it was yesterday, on yesterday's walk and talk, when people say Tottenham don't have any depth, I don't believe that's the case, at least when you look in certain positions, and midfield being one of them. You could make the argument that there are 8 midfielders at Tottenham, and you go right down the list to 7th on the list, and you have a player of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's quality as 7th choice midfielder, and ahead of him you've got the likes of Bentancur, Sarr, Bissouma, Decky, Maddison, Lo Celso. Was he Skippy after him? I mean, we're not short of midfield options. Obviously that might change if one or two of those want to go. If Lo Celso does want to go back to Barcelona, rumours out last night that Xavi is still very much interested in getting Lo Celso. Højbjerg going to Juve, still very much interested. If we were to liquidate those two, maybe you put the combined fee together and make something happen for Conor Gallagher. Maybe you have an increase in depth via a reduction in overall number. It's an interesting one. Again, not sure it's going to happen, but we'll move on. The next name on the list is Iiling Zabarnyi, Ukrainian right-sided, right-footed, although can play both-sided centre-back for Bournemouth. I've been very impressed with him since he's come to Bournemouth. His stock has risen pretty rapidly. A good passer of the ball, someone who's good tackler, doesn't do too much else. He's a bit of a kind of old school no nonsense centre back, or at least that's the system that Bournemouth play in a forwards players in that role to have to be secure in. He's very good at just kind of getting in the way, interceptions, blocks, tackles, clearances, that sort of stuff. He's pretty good at. He's not a slouch, and he can play on both the right and the left. And as we said yesterday, with Romero and the kind of vulnerability in his game, which is recklessness, then you either have to be one of kind of three mindsets regarding Romero. You either have to be worried about his propensity to get in trouble and liquidate the player and put the money into someone else that's as good but not as risky, or you tolerate him because he's that good in your mind, but you need to get some backup on the right side and maybe prioritise a right side over a left side, because Ben Davies is better than Royale in defence, but possibly. And you know, you need someone, in the case of Romero, getting a red card, which will happen. Or you say no. I love him. I'm happy with who it is, and I still want the left-sided centre-back. I don't think we're going to have enough money to get both in January. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to get a player that can cover both positions. One of those is Zabanye from Bournemouth. Does he excite me? Not really. Does he have the same physical traits that Lloyd Kelly does that makes the Lloyd Kelly transfer make sense? Probably not. Is he a technically good defender that can pass the ball and carry it? Yeah, he is. Would I hate it? I'm not overwhelmed by it, but he's certainly a good defender, and I think he'll get better and better. Oh, the thing against him though is he's not homegrown, right? He's Ukrainian, so it doesn't help us when you're trying to remove one non-homegrown and bring in another. You know, it's a strange kind of decision to make. For me, I think that, I've said it before, if you bring in a homegrown player, if you can find one here or there, and Conor Gallagher obviously would be one, then it makes you have easier conversations around players like Sessegnon and Skippy and Davies, around when you really do want to kind of step up the level. If you have a homegrown coming in, then you can at least, you haven't got to hold on to substandard, subpar homegrown players that you're currently only keeping because of that rationale. So we'll move on anyway. That's the Zabanya. You've also got Radu Dragusin. Is he going to drag us into a title challenge? Is he going to drag us into a top four race? Look, I'm not a massive believer in the hype over this guy. His agent has been in London. His agent says guaranteed he'll be playing for a Champions League team, a top tier team, a top 10 team in Europe by next season. And you know, people rave about this guy. They absolutely rave about him. And Italian people who know Italian football better than I do say that he's absolutely excellent, and he's one of these players with so much potential. Whenever I've seen him play, I've seen him make a little bit of mistake, you know, clumsiness. I've seen wastefulness. Like, he's got all of the kind of minerals, if you like. He's a big, tall, strapping centre half, good in the air, and his stats, for what it's worth, back up my view of him rather than the view that I keep reading about. I just feel like he's got the best PR since, you know, sliced bread. You talk about overrated players. In my opinion, from what I've seen of him, and the sample size isn't great, he looks like someone who's very much a little bit overrated. However, as I say, I'm in a very small pool of people that believe that he's not that great. Most people in the media suggest that this guy is one of the next big names in football. So we'll see. But that's another name that we've been linked with before, and the links keep coming up. Again, though, doesn't solve the homegrown thing, but listen, he can play on the left. I think he's right-footed from memory. I can't remember. I think he's right-footed. Right-footed, left-sided centre-back, probably can play both. Maybe right now Tottenham are looking at and thinking the same way we're thinking, or I'm thinking about, you know, what do you do with Romero? You need someone in there behind him who can play as backup to both sides, who's competent and capable both sides, because of the likely frequency that we're going to have with Romero out with suspensions, if not injuries. And don't forget, he's fairly injury prone as well. In the 2 years he's been here, he has, you know, been out for not an insignificant amount of time. So, you know, if you can convince a top-rated third-choice centre-back to come in who can play both sides, then you know they're going to get minutes. Whether it's on the left or the right, they're going to get a lot of minutes. Any other news to bring to your attention today? No, I don't think that's it, really. I think that's it. Just more stories about Richarlison. I'd love to ask you a question, guys, whether you think that Richarlison's, you know, he came out last night and did another interview, didn't he? He loves doing interviews after good games where he scores a goal. He loves to tell the world how the reason why he wasn't scoring goals was because he's had all this problem and that problem, you know, and likes to make excuses or explanations, whichever one they are. and now he's saying he's feeling brilliant. Okay, well, let's see. Now you said you're feeling brilliant. Let's see if you can go on a hot streak, a hot run, because we need it, mate. We absolutely need it. You played brilliantly on Sunday, taking nothing away. I think you actually played better without the ball than you did with the ball, which is saying something considering you scored 2 goals. But I think you absolutely are a workhorse, and you work tirelessly and absolutely ticking those boxes for you. But for me, I still don't have the same long-term vision around him being in a Tottenham shirt. I would like us to see him get a couple more goals, put himself firmly in the shop window, try and get him into a Saudi Arabian club, try and get 40 million quid back for him, and then put that together with some money for a better striker that's younger, that has a bit more flair, a bit more of a finisher's touch. That's what you really need in this system, is from a number 9, is someone who works hard but can finish their dinner, because they'll get opportunities. And just imagine Harry Kane in this system. Imagine it, he'd probably already be on 15 goals this season for Tottenham, and we'd be at the top of the table. But yeah, that's the other piece of news. Iiling Junuor. Rumours are today out that Tottenham, he's basically, the contracts are prepared and done. He might be in by the 1st of January. It seems like we're making moves on certain players, and the players that we're making moves on seem to fit a certain model. Young, talented, with high potential, not necessarily the finished article. I'm okay with it, but I think that Tottenham could do with just one signing of someone that's like a big name that can grab everyone's attention. Whether that's Jimenez, whether that's Vlahovic, whether that's an Ivan Toney, you can go and get one of those 3 in, and then supplement him with an Iiling Junior. Get Richie out the door if he wants to go. Bring in a centre back that's capable of playing on the left or the right, or bring in 2 if there's money, if there genuinely is money available without dropping down. But I think if you can get enough money together to go and buy someone that's capable of playing on the right and the left, and not a drop off, then Tottenham are cooking. And then with regards Gallagher, like I say, I love the player. I have loved the player. And this season, it's no surprise to me that when given the chance, he's absolutely taken the ball by the horns. I'd be very surprised if the rumours are true that they're going to let him go, let the contract run down. I think maybe they're just putting 2 and 2 together. He's Chelsea's captain, for God's sake, and he's played absolutely brilliantly. But you can make it make sense. The fact that he hasn't been offered a new contract, the fact that he only has 18 months left, and the fact that Chelsea need to rebuild but are up against FFP, and then someone like Conor Gallagher they can get top money for in January. And if they wait until the summer, then that number probably loses 20% of its value because of the proximity to his contract expiration. So you can make the story make sense. It just doesn't really make sense to Tottenham for the reasons I've already mentioned. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Like, subscribe and comment, and I hope if you haven't already seen it, go back and check out The Devil's Advocate that was on at 12 o'clock today UK time with me and Dave. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, bye-bye.